What I'm going to be offering you, ladies, today is something that in my decades of studying with other dance teachers, no one has ever taught. And so I always want to know, like, I want to know the why behind the why behind the why. And so, I don't even know, maybe a decade plus ago, I was like, where did belly dance origin? What's its origin story? And so I started digging around and did my own research, and then I had the great fortune to study with Suhaila Salimpour when she was about 82 and 83, and she was the woman that we can really acknowledge as the one who coined belly dance in the USA and put it together as a, did I say Suhaila? I meant Jamila. Jamila, I studied with her when she was 82, 83, and she's basically like the mother of belly dance as we know it in the West. She did profound research and dove into the Lebanese culture, dove into the Greek culture, dove into the North African, Arabian culture in the Bay Area, because she, had all access to these amazing different cultures. And she basically put together, classified, made moves that then could be taught. And that's where a lot of what we're learning came from. And then her daughter, Suhaila Salimpour, who I studied with in depth, she really ran with it. She's like the mad scientist, and she studied a lot of Western dance and really just, that's largely the format that I'm teaching you, is it's very specific. Here's the muscle groups, here's the body mechanics, and then she made it into a really professional art form. And if you start digging around in the history and some of the biggest names in belly dance in the last 10, 15 years, you'll trace back that they probably studied with Suhaila, because she just developed a brilliant format. She took what her mother did, and then in the 80s, she was living in the Bay Area and came across these poppin' and lockin' break dancers and was like, what is going on? And became friends with some of the most famous break dancers of the day. And so she integrated that into the style, which is a lot of the poppin' and lockin' that I give you. So that's our modern belly dance that we know it. And then there's also a woman, and I'm so sorry, I forgot her name, in New York, and she was kind of like a contemporary of Jamila Salimpour in that era of really compiling. I mean, this woman, she went to Africa and spent a lot of time with like the tribal women all over Africa, collected their birthing stories, and really was able to trace from her own experiences dancing throughout Africa that belly dance was origins of, it was a way to prepare the woman for childbirth. So both physically, mentally, energetically. And so, Jamila gave me, actually she gave me books and documents of her own research that she had spent decades doing. So she filled in a lot of my research, but I'm gonna give you like thousands of years of research crammed into like 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe at most. But so we're living in this epic age of the diversity of the feminine body being accepted, where in my lifetime as a child, it was like beauty is a skinny, white, blonde woman. And now we're seeing like all these different amazing shapes, which is the wonderful thing, because in regards to belly dance, so this class is called Belly Dance Through the Ages. And so now we're on class 6 today. Now I'm bringing it all together and really letting you know, when you study with me, you are getting this ancient celebration of the feminine form and all the mysteries that happen with a woman's body. And you will not find this in any other class. And I know this because maybe there are people out there, but I've never heard of anyone teaching this. And it's so important, because this is not just a performance art. This is not just a great workout. This is actually tapping into her story and what women have been doing in dance and ritual and in their bodies for tens of thousands of years. So if you look at a historical aspect, we go, I'm not gonna get too heady, but just a little bit. Paleolithic time is like 2 million years ago it began, but it goes all the way up until 10,000 years ago. So in Europe, we see these Paleolithic, beautiful little figurines that have been found in Europe that are like 10,000 or more years old. These little gorgeous, reverently, intricately carved beautiful feminine forms with like boobs bigger than their head, huge hips. And it's obvious whoever made these did it in reverence, like did it in awe, did it as a art piece. And so in the research that I've done, back when, humans didn't really understand the world they lived in, what they did understand was, whoa, a woman is creating life. Like she is a divine goddess being. And so this belly dance, we can trace back to women being that goddess form, being the embodiment of mystery and life-giving force. And so the belly dance moves largely, if someone is tracing back to the moves, we're imagining that women were leading ritual. Women were the first ritual leaders, and the first rituals might have been about like, wow, how is she creating more life? How is she creating more humans? And you can imagine the movements, the reenactments around a fire of like, what does a woman do in childbirth? Now, childbirth before the Western medical system got to a woman, okay? We're talking childbirth when women were birthing children, when the tribes women got together and birthed the babies, or when the mothers totally knew their body, very strong, very flexible, very in tune, have the ability to do a variety of movements and can work out the baby on their own. So today we're gonna do undulations. We're gonna do the rolls up to down, getting into the belly, and you'll be able to feel your internal strength all the way going into the pelvis. So we've been doing the figure eights, and I know you've been experiencing like, whoa, there's muscles there that could have more flexibility. There's muscles there that, wow, could have more strength. And then you'd have all this availability of the sensory experience.